Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm Tim and today I'm continuing my playthrough of Skies Above Britain. Before we get started, a couple of things I wanted to go over. Stu pointed out a couple of blunders that I made in the previous episode, so I wanted to cover those. The first one wasn't really a rules mistake, but it was a missed opportunity. So if you recall, at the end of the first round, we had several bombers that we had approached from nose or tail high. So we had the tail penalty that was invoked, which we'll get to in a second here. But the missed opportunity was I forgot that if you are at the end of the bomber round, if you're still engaged with a bomber from the tail, which all of these would, well, these aren't obviously because that one got destroyed, but these two here, I could have decided to leave them engaged with this bomber instead of disengaging, which would have been a good idea, I think, because more possibility of getting hits from the tail, it seems like, in some cases multiple hits. And then also I could have then taken another fighter that actually did disengage, because then these don't suffer the delay penalty. They can just immediately re-engage on the tail. They basically stay there. And then I could have had another fighter come in from a flank and potentially caused a dorsal gunner hit, which means then when these guys attacked, they wouldn't have been subject to hits from return fire. You can still get, other types of return fire results like lost contact or whatever, but any return fire that ended up being a hit, they could have ignored. So I still feel pretty good about how things turned out, but that was something I probably should have at least considered, and I just completely forgot that you could do that. The other thing then is regarding the tail penalty. So I did a few of those wrong. I posted in the comments of the previous video to explain all these situations and what I did wrong. But I was saying that the tail penalty was you had to draw 2 return fire markers and take whichever one was the worst. Well, that's not exactly right. If you look at the way it's actually worded, it says if the return fire result is a hit, flip the marker over, and then you draw a second hit marker and compare the hit check numbers. So you're not drawing 2 return fire markers, you're drawing 1 return fire marker, and then if that's a hit, then you have to draw a second hit marker, which means ignore what's on the back, look at the front, and if that number is higher, then you keep it and put the other one back. So a couple of the cases that I was doing wrong were, in one case, I drew a green hit as the return fire marker and the pilot wasn't green. Well, that's not a hit, so you don't have to draw another marker. The other situation was I drew a hit, say it was like an engine 6, and then I drew a second marker and I was looking at the back and said, oh, well, that's not a hit, so I don't have to, this is worse than going low ammo. Well, that's not what you do. The first one was a hit, so then you draw a second hit marker, and if that number is higher, which in this case it is, then you would replace it with that. So that's the way that's supposed to work for the tail penalty. I reviewed I think there was three or four cases where I did it wrong in the previous patrol, but after the fates were resolved, it ended up, or not, after the hit checks were resolved, I should say, it ended up being the same result as if I had done it correctly. So, but I wanted to make you aware of that mistake I made as well, so that you don't learn the wrong way to do things. All right. think that's enough of that. Let's get to the task at hand. All right, let's start off by rolling for our random event. Use the blue die this time. So we're down here on chapter 4. And an 8 is going to be, ooh, sweet, big wing. All right, I was hoping we'd get this at least once. All right, I think we might actually, we'll see what it says. All right. Wow, this is a big one. All right, it says, in this patrol, your squadron is ordered to operate in conjunction with another squadron. Squadron 2, use the Squadron 2 formation marker, a sticker block. So we have this. This is our normal squadron marker. And then we have this Squadron 2 marker. So we're going to make use of that. You may rendezvous with that other squadron and make contact with the raid together. This necessitates the following special rules. Setup. The squadron starts in the deep zone. Do not roll the die. Squadron 2 does not start in play. You bring it into play by performing rendezvous. Rendezvous is permitted prior to contact and prohibited after contact. Rendezvous may be attempted during the vector step of the raid vector sequence, but only in the deep zone. The squadron may not move or change altitude in that same step. It may reform. To make the attempt, spend 1 fuel and roll a die. Even, success. The number rolled is even. Rendezvous has happened. Place Squadron 2 in the same zone as your squadron at the same altitude. Odd, fail. Rendezvous has not happened. If you try again during the next or later vector step, roll 2 dice, and if either is even, rendezvous is successful. So it becomes easier if you fail the first time. If contact happens before rendezvous, ignore Squadron 2 and deduct 3 victory points from your score. Ouch. So if you try to rendezvous and fail and then never end up successfully rendezvousing, you lose 3 victory points. So that's something to consider. All right, Squadron 2. After rendezvous, you make decisions for this other squadron. It may not break down into echelon formations, flight and section. While on the raid track, both squadrons operate as one formation, same zone, same altitude. Make only 1 contact check for both of them. Do not track Squadron 2's fuel. It never spends fuel, nor does it need to. It does not have fuel cubes. That's interesting. Because I kind of assumed that's what these big versions of the fuel cubes were for, but I guess not. What else we got here? Messerschmitts. After rendezvous, when both squadrons are operating together, if you garner a Messerschmitt result, it is possible that result will apply to Squadron 2 and not your squadron. Roll a die. If even, it affects Squadron 2. If odd, the result applies to your squadron. That's interesting because I wonder if you get Squadron 2, how do you split out a section from that? Straggler. If you garner a straggler result, you may assign one of Squadron 2's sections to attack it. If so, attach a -1 section marker to Squadron 2's formation block. Okay, I guess that's how you would handle the Messerschmitts as well. As a reminder that Squadron 2 now comprises only 3 sections. So where are these? Okay, that's these things. So we've got these counters, -1 section, -2 sections, -3 sections, and obviously no -4 section required because there wouldn't be anything. And then the back of that is actually the weave marker, which we never got to take advantage of. Okay, so that's good to know. Interception. Oh, wait. The missing section. and destroyed the bomber and returned to base. Oh, nice. So you just automatically get a VP for that. You don't actually play it out. Well, that's good. So that's probably definitely a good opportunity to go after a straggler since it's automatically successful. If you're okay with losing one of your sections out of that squadron. Interception map. If contact happens after rendezvous, place both squadrons on the interception map. One or both may adjust. Section 2 adjusts without paying fuel. They now operate independently. Teamwork. Only the fighters of one squadron are permitted to attack the bombers. The others should intercept the escort. You may not break up Squadron 2 by assigning one of its flights or sections in order. You must assign an order to that squadron as a whole. Okay. So you could break up the first squadron to like go after different escort stations or whatever, or maybe have, well, you couldn't have some of them go after fighters and some go after bombers. So you have to decide which squadron is going to go after the bombers, and the other can intercept escorts. If you want to go after multiple escort stations, you'd have to send Squadron 1 after them, since you're not allowed to break up Squadron 2. All right, so far so good. Squadron 2 intercepts bombers. If Squadron 2 intercepts the bombers, place the formation marker in the middle of the interception map. Do not initiate the bomber cycle. That action happens off screen. If interception happens while the raid marker is on the inbound row of the track, you earn 2 VP for each section in Squadron 2. So I guess they're assuming that each section, like isolated to tile and or killed a bomber. If on the turn space of the track or the outbound row, you earn 1 VP per section. So there they assume that each section just destroyed a bomber. Once it intercepts bombers, Squadron 2 performs no more actions and is out of play. So that's kind of cool. So you can get some automatic VPs, but potentially less than what you might be able to get if you played it out yourself. All right. If you have Squadron 2 intercept the escorts, do not initiate a dogfight. Instead, it has lost contact. If its order was to intercept escorts, make an escort suppression check, and may perform chase during entropy. Each time it is in a situation where a dogfight is triggered, Squadron 2 loses 1 section. If reduced to 0 sections, remove it from play. And it looks like this is just going to talk about that again. Squadron 2 dogfights. It's in a situation where an advantage card would be drawn. Do not actually play the dogfight. Assume 1 section is removed. Place -1 section marker on it to signify this. -2 section, -3 section, and so forth. All right. The Big Wing was a strategy to combine squadrons into a force that could handle the swarm of Luftwaffe escort. It was effective once contact was achieved, but the time required to assemble a force of 2 or more RAF squadrons meant that force could rarely intercept a raid before it reached its target and released ordnance. So, yeah, that's the only downside. We might, because it takes that extra step to set up, we might miss the opportunity to intercept the bombers before they drop their ordnance. So I guess we'll have to see how this plays out, but this sounds pretty cool. I'm glad we got it for our random events. All right. Next would be replacements, but we haven't lost anyone yet. We had a few casualties in the hospital, but no KIAs or MIAs. So we don't get any replacements. So next we need to assign our pilots. So let's take a look at our fatigued status. So these that were fatigued last patrol no longer are. And let's see who we have that's newly fatigued. So it would be Patrol 8 from Chapter 3 and Patrol 1 from Chapter 4. That's going to be Fitzroy is fatigued. Grant is fatigued. It's not Grant, that's an O. I was going to say, I thought Grant was green. Well, I picked up the wrong one. Sorry. So he goes there. Hooley is fatigued, but he's actually in the hospital. Marrington, also in the hospital. Osgood is fatigued. Over there. And I think that might be it. Yes, that's all. All right, so only 3 fatigued pilots. Let's see if we can, but we have 3 that bailed out and 1 that, or 3 that went in the hospital, 1 that bailed out. So we've only got 12 of our 16 available to us. So if we want to fly a full section, or full squadron, sorry, we'll have to fly those guys that are fatigued as well. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Why are we only coming up with 10? Oh, because these are stacked. Duh. 11, 12. All right. Yeah, I think to take best advantage of this big wing event, we're going to want to have a full squadron out here. So let's go ahead and fly these guys that are fatigued. So I'm going to need 3 fatigued mockers. For Fitzroy, Osgood, and Grant. All right. Okay, let's see. We want Irwin's going to take blue section. White is going to take yellow section. We want to have our green guys with a veteran. So we'll go there with Tremble. And there, well, let's put them in different flights. There with Irwin. Let's give our guys that have a green pilot a second veteran. And then let's put Fitzroy here, Pertwee here, Birtwistle here, and Osgood here. All right. So we've got Tremble flying this patrol. We've got Upchurch flying this patrol. We've got Ellsworth. We've got Fitzroy. We've got Northcott. We've got Pertwee. What was this again? Grant. Irwin. Rathbone. Osgood. White. And Birtwistle. Birtwistle will be a veteran after this patrol. I think we might have somebody else too. Osgood maybe. 1, 2. Nope, that's 8. Must be 8 for Osgood. I was thinking there was someone else that was on the cusp of becoming a veteran. We'll look at that later. All right, so that's our pilot roster. By the way, I failed to mention at the beginning, this is Chapter 4, Patrol number 2. All right. So let's do our, this guy can come over from the bailout box now that we've assigned everybody. Dog it. And then we need to roll for our 3 hospitalized folks. All right, so we'll start with Atkinson. There's a 5. He remains hospitalized. Merrington, 7, still hospitalized. And Hooley, come on, we want him out of there. He just got his ace skill. Nope, 5. All right, so they're all 3 staying in. All right, for our setup, again, we start in the deep zone. We don't roll. Our vector markers go down like this. So we've got 1 here. 1 here, then 2, and 4 and 4. All right, we need to remember, since we're in the deep zone, if we get a Messerschmitt's result, that will be a straggler. All right, then we'll roll for our visibility. Red die for visibility, blue die for sun location. 10 is going to be clouds, no sun. All right. Let's rock and roll, as they say. Raid vector sequence, reveal step. Uh-oh. Don't like to see that early. We might not be able to get our big squadron formed, or our big wing. Well, we got 2 flak to start with. And I'm going to put these on the bomber tiles again, so I don't forget to put these out when we build the bomber formation area. Remember, these are on the hurricane side, so we got an 11 on the wing. That's potentially catastrophic. I know the rules say to roll for these immediately, but I prefer just waiting until they get placed. Then I don't have to remember, oh, did I roll that? Was that a catastrophic when I rolled it or not? And then just a regular wing damage. All right. We do have a tally-ho opportunity here, though, which I'm thinking we should probably take advantage of. Because that way we can at least be in this middle zone, and then, you know, hopefully the raid marker's not in one of these 3 tiles here. And we'll have an opportunity, we'll have an opportunity now when we get to the vector step to form our big wing. So yeah, let's do that. Let's do a tally-ho. So we're going to spend a fuel to either move to an adjacent zone or change altitude. And we'll use it to move to an adjacent zone. And then the raid marker comes out. And since the visibility is not clear, we don't get to see the escorts yet. All right, that's going to conclude the reveal phase. The fuel phase, we spend another fuel. Contact, we will choose to not make contact. And then in the vector phase, this is where we can attempt to rendezvous. So let me pull that back out again, make sure we're doing this right. Here it is. All right. Rendezvous is permitted prior to contact and prohibited after contact. Rendezvous may be attempted during the vector step. I think it's actually the vector phase, but let's not get picky about it, I guess, of the raid vector sequence, but only in the deep... Oh, I forgot that part. Well, I really want to try this rendezvous thing, so even though this may not be strategically the best choice, we're going to redact that tally-ho that we did. Or I guess we can still do it. Let's just go high altitude. Yeah, that's the ticket. All right. The squadron may not move or change altitude in that same step, which we didn't. That was a rally or a tally-ho that we did during the reveal step / phase. So to make the attempt, spend one fuel and roll a die. So we're spending a fuel to attempt rendezvous. And we're looking for an even. Come on. Yes. All right. If the number rolled is an even number, rendezvous has happened. Place squadron 2 in the same zone as your squadron at the same altitude. So we're just going to stack them on top of each other. Like that. Awesome. All right. So that was the vector phase / step. So now we loop back up to reveal. This will move over and we'll reveal this one. No. Well, that stinks. First 2 markers revealed. That's terrible. All right, well, we do get the turn point. So since it's there's no sun out, that makes it immediately become clear. And we roll to see where the sun is, and that chart is not on here. So let me look that up. Turn point. We use this to determine the sun location. 1 is going to be on the nose. All right. Then the dreaded raid marker. All these go away. This goes to the turn space, and now we use this chart to see where the sun moves to. So it's on the nose, so even it's going to go port, odd it's going to go starboard. And it's even, so port. All right, that concludes the reveal step. So now we spend a fuel again. And now I think we need to make contact, because they're going to start running away from us. Speaking of which, we need to put some outbound markers out. Let me do that real quick. And then we'll roll for contact. We still, oh, you know what? Let me finish this first, and then I'm going to look something up. Because I think since the sun came out, we are now supposed to roll to see where the escorts are, which will be very beneficial in deciding how we want to approach the formation. All right. Yeah, so let's look up. I don't think it's on. Is it on this? No, it's not listed on the player aid card, unfortunately. But I believe in the rule book, under the icon explanations, turn points. Yes, little italicized note here. If escort markers are not yet in play, roll a die to populate the interception map with them as per the Situation Manual's escort station table. And it says to do this even if the raid marker isn't even on the track yet. So, but in this case it was, so. But I believe this overrides the instructions we had earlier to defer until contact happens. So we roll now to see where the escorts are. Oh, 12. Okay, so lead with a 109 heavy. Port has 110s. And trailing has 110s. So lead 109 heavy. Port and trailing. Well, the 110s at port are going to be out of the sun, unfortunately. Trailing. But the nice thing is lead and trailing never... you never get a help arrives result on an escort reaction from lead or trailing. So if we can suppress these guys, then we don't have to worry about any escort reaction other than possibly ambush. All right. So now we're at the contact step, and yes, we will make contact. So we are in an adjacent zone. There's no clouds anymore, so we don't have the -2 modifier. Easy for you to say. Let's see what we get. 5, yeah. So tail low, and we can adjust to flank low. So let's think about this a minute. And remember, we do have to spend a fuel for making contact from an adjacent zone. But then remember, the wing can not, you can choose independently for each squadron whether to make the adjustment or not. So we could have, like, for example, Squadron 1 come in tail low, Squadron 2 come in flank low, or vice versa, depending on what role we want them to have and what order we want to give them. Remember, only one squadron can go after the bombers. And if we decide to make it Squadron 2, since they've already dropped their ordnance, we'll basically just get an automatic 1 victory point for each section in the squadron. So at this point, assuming nothing happens to any of their sections, which I don't think it's possible that it would, we'd be looking at an automatic 4 victory points if we went that route. Which, considering that we're only getting victory points now from destroyed bombers, that might not be a bad choice. Not as fun, obviously, but we could do that, and we could send the main squadron after the escorts and just try to go for some escort kills. The other option is we send the Squadron 2 to try to intercept here. And it would basically be, you can't split them up, so we'd be sending all 12 fighters to intercept that one station. And it's a light station, so we'd only need a 2 to suppress it and a 6 to reduce it. So that would probably be good. And then we could just let our bombers, or our fighters, focus on going after the bombers. Do we think we can do better than 4 victory points? Remember, we don't have much time here, because we definitely don't want to still be around when that gets to here in the channel recovery spot. We basically have this round, two attacks at it. If we stayed for another round, it moves to here. We'd get a 3rd round at them. If we stayed to another round, it gets to here. We'd have a 4th round, and then we'd need to bug out the next time through the cycle. So we could potentially have 4 rounds at the bombers, and yeah, I think I'd rather try to earn the points myself than just take the guaranteed 4. Although, like I said, we could take the guaranteed 4 and then just try to go after escort kills. And we're risking our pilots in dogfights. But the other way, we're risking them in attacking the bombers. Let's think about this. Whichever one we send after the bombers, let's see which one would be the better position. come in from. So tail low, if we're looking at just bomber interception, we've got what are we looking at? Tail low, we've got 109s in the lead, which is only a 4. We've got 110s in the starboard, which would be a 7, but those would most likely get suppressed. And then we've got 110s trailing. Ooh, actually, that's the one causing more issues. Interesting. But then again, we don't have to worry about them as far as reaction. So that's, I think, the bigger plus, even though it's a little bit harder to intercept from there. So that's if we come in tail low. If we come in flank low, or sorry, this is trailing. What am I doing? Flank low's up here. If we come in flank low, then our lead 109s is a 5. Our port, we could come in from the other flank and they would only be a 4. And then trailing, we'd be looking at a 2. So I think flank low is the best option for the bombers, whoever we send after the bombers. How about for escort interception? If we come in tail low, I think this means, well, let's look at our numbers first. That's another thing I've never had happen either, is this whole circle thing. So I'm not 100% sure how that works. But if we're tail low, 109s are in the lead. We can't intercept them from tail low. Not that we want to. The 110s at starboard would be an 8 to get an RAF advantage. And the low, or no, they're trailing. Trailing would be 7. But again, we don't want to worry about it. So we'd be looking at an 8 to get RAF advantage, and they'd have to spend a fuel for that. But again, if we send Squadron 2 after them, you don't have to worry about the fuel expenditure. If we did flank low, again, we can't intercept the ones that lead, but we wouldn't want to. The trailing would be 8, but we'd be wanting, it'd be either 8 or 9, depending on we did same side or other side. We're coming in low, so it doesn't really make sense to come in on the same side, because we wouldn't get the out of the sun advantage anyway. So we'd come in, well, it's easier though on the same side. So we would want to do same side. So we'd be looking at, either way, we're looking at an 8. So for the escort interception, it doesn't make sense to adjust. But for whoever we send after the bombers, we do want to adjust them because it will be easier. 5 and 2. Or 4, but we're hoping they get suppressed. Either way, it'd be the 5, even if they're not suppressed. All right, so that's our plan. Now we just have to decide who does what part of the plan. If we send the entire, I assume if we send the entire squadron after that 110 station, each section still gets its own dogfight card, right? Pretty sure that's how that works. Let's see, intercept escort, success. And then, oh, and yeah, the other thing too, I think we may have a chance. Yeah, if the target escort marker represents 110s, which it's going to, this is another reason I think I'll do it this way, because if I'd like to try to get this result if possible, just to see how this works. So if the target escort marker represents 110s, which it would, and the result of the interception attempt succeeded because you rolled equal to or higher than the red number, there's a chance the 110s will form a defensive circle before dogfight starts. Roll another die and consult the circle table, which is here. Use roll corresponding to the RAF formation's altitude. Well, we would be low, and we're sending an entire squadron after them. Compare the number rolled to this red number if it's equal to or higher. So yeah, if we get a 5 or higher on that roll, they'll form a circle. Cool. Let's do that. So we're going to send the Squadron 1 after the escorts. So they do not need to adjust because tail low was just as good as flank low. So our main squadron is coming in tail low, and this squadron will come in flank low from starboard. All right. Yeah, because for the bomber interception, we do want flank low versus tail low, because that trailing station is going to cause issues. All right, so there's our contact made. Again, our main squadron didn't adjust, so we don't need to spend the fuel here. Yeah, so that is contact. It's going to take us down to the interception sequence. So for our orders, oh, the other thing I forgot I was looking up was if we send that entire squadron, I think I want to do it no matter what, because I want to try to trigger that escort circle. So if, where does it talk about dogfight cards? No, that's still talking about the circle. Fuel, extra fuel, circle. Where does it talk about? Okay, the number rolls equal to or higher on if lower. Regardless of the result, dogfight cycle is triggered. Formation has now lost contact. Success, dogfight is triggered. Draw an RAF advantage card for each section in the formation. Failure, dogfight is triggered. Draw a Luftwaffe advantage card for each section in the formation. So yeah, we will get either a Luftwaffe or RAF advantage card for each section in the formation. But that's only if we don't trigger the circle. Because if the circle gets formed, you don't draw an advantage card. Instead, use the circle display. So we'd put all of our fighters on the display. Okay, yeah, this could be fun. An entire squadron on the circle display. That sounds like a blast. All right, so we're giving this squadron a bomber's order, and we're giving this squadron an escort order. All right. Good deal, good deal. So let's resolve those orders. We start with the escort order. So our escort squadron makes an interception check And we have all 4 pilots are veterans, so we can potentially add +4 to this roll. Because again, we want this to succeed in order to be able to roll on the circle table. Which, by the way, is over here as well on the player aid card. All right, so we're coming in from tail low. We're going to intercept the port station, which is 110s. So we have to spend a fuel. We need an 8 or higher. We don't get the out of the sun advantage. And it doesn't note it here, but it is noted over here that you can spend an extra fuel to reroll. All right, here we go. 8 or higher, 4 or higher, and we can utilize our pluck to make it an 8. Yes, 11. All right, so success. So it does have the circle result here. And if you look over here on this chart, it says circle, roll another die if equal to or higher than number in the circle table. 110s form a defensive circle. All right, so we sent the squadron and we came in low. So we need a 5 or higher to get circle defense. Yes. All right. I was going to be very disappointed if that didn't come out 5 or higher. Okay. So yeah, let's go back to the rule book and see what happens. Because this is all brand new territory for me. And probably for a lot of you guys as well. Where is it? Escort suppression. Here we go. Circle display. If the 110s form a defensive circle, use the circle display to organize combat. Do not draw advantage cards. The display is neither lost contact nor on the interception map and is temporary. Right, I think, where did it say? I mean, I think we are lost contact though, right? Because it says back here, intercept escort procedure. Select an escort marker on the target map. Consult the intercept table, apply the result. Finish by performing escort check. There. Okay, I know somewhere here it says that they go lost contact. If the intersection of the column road doesn't have a red number, has an X instead, the order is canceled. Well, why would you give it to them in the first place? Formation is lost contact. Okay, well that's not what happened. Oh, here it is. Regardless of the result, the dogfight cycle is triggered and the formation is now lost contact. Remove the formation marker, but leave the escort station marker where it is. Okay. Let's see if this overrides that at all. Let's keep reading. Place RAF fighters on it so that each engages a swarm and then resolve each attack. After the first round of combat, all RAF fighters on it are lost contact. Yeah, so they're going to be lost contact. Oh, after the first round of combat. So I guess if we resolve them all without going to a second round, we don't go lost contact. That's my take on that. Interesting. All right, well, let's get it set up, and then we'll keep reading. So I need to dig out this lost contact display. I think it's buried in the box somewhere. Okay. Go. There's our circle display. Well, this is interesting because place the RAF fighters on it so that each engages a swarm, then resolve each attack. The problem is we have 12 fighters and there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 spots. So I wonder how that works. Let's keep reading. Red is head on facing a swarm, but it has 110s behind him. Draw 2 dogfight cards, head on and tailing. Green is tailing a swarm, but it has 110s tailing him. Draw 2 dogfight cards, tailing and tailed. Interesting. So it depends on which way you're facing, it looks like. Yellow attacks from the flank. Draw a light bomber card. Oh, so you can looks like you can attack from the flank as well. Interesting. Blue attacks from a flank, draw a light bomber card. All right, let's keep reading. Engaging the 110 circle. On the circle display, a fighter may engage a swarm head-on, tailing it, or by the flank. Attack head-on or tailing. Engage box. Between each swarm is an engage box. To engage a swarm head-on or to tail a swarm, place RAF fighters in those boxes, 1 fighter per box maximum. Orient the RAF fighter so that it faces its target. Doing this also represents the RAF fighter, or presents the RAF fighter as a target to the 110s in front and behind it. Okay. Dogfight cards. Resolve combat 1 RAF fighter at a time, drawing 2 dogfight cards for each, and apply results from both cards simultaneously as follows. So if you're head-on, your head-on card, you apply all the results, and the tailing card, you ignore all results except for hits. If you're tailing, then you apply all results from the tailing card, and the tailed card, no maneuver is allowed. Apply all results except tight turn and slip. Interesting. We don't get a tailing. We don't have the opportunity to do tailing very often, so it might be interesting to do some of them that way. Attack on the flank. An RAF fighter may attack a swarm by engaging it on the flank. Place it on the side, to the side of the swarm. This allows the RAF fighter to treat its target as though it were a light bomber and will use a bomber card instead of a dogfight card to resolve combat. top row, middle column. So let's just get one out as an example. This is where you will still need the light bomber deck in chapter 3 or 4. So it says we use the top row, middle column. So it's as if they're supported, and you use this box here. The RAF fighter disengages immediately after the attack before drawing a card to resolve another combat. Once disengaged, it has lost contact. So any that you send in on the flank are automatically going to go lost contact, it sounds like. Okay, bomber card results. Only apply the results at the intersection of the starboard report column and the top row. So if you get a disruption, treat the display as a bomber formation and count only the number of RAF fighters on it. Do not count markers and don't count the swarms. If the number of RAF fighters equals or exceeds, because number is the subject, not fighters. If the number equals or exceeds the marker over the swarm image on the display, exceeds the disruption number at that moment, place a fallen marker over the swarm image on the display and place a new Luftwaffe fighter swarm marker in the lost contact area. The RAF fighter that scored the disruption may immediately engage it, tailing, or let it go. If you let it go, there's no need to place the Luftwaffe fighter marker, remove it. If other RAF fighters were engaged to the fallen 110s, they attack the fallen marker, apply only low ammo results and those derived from return fire results, if any. If other RAF fighters were engaged to the fallen 110s, they attack the fallen marker. Oh, okay, so the marker that you replaced with on here, and apply only low ammo results and those derived from return fire results, if any. Gotcha. And I said that would be if they were engaged from the flank, obviously. I think. Well, maybe not. I mean, those would be the only ones that have return fire results, but I guess head on or tailing or tailed could also have low ammo results. All right, end of round. After all RAF fighters have attacked, those still in engage boxes are now lost contact. Each tails a rota, 110s. Place the fighter and the Luftwaffe fighter marker in the lost contact area and play the dogfight. Remove the circle display and play dogfights for each engaged RAF fighter. So yeah, basically everyone's going to go lost contact because you're either still in an engaged box. I mean, maybe not because you got failed to hit check, but yeah, so there's no way to come out of this not lost contact or in a fate box, it looks like. Summary: when 110s form circle, your fighters get one round to attack it. Afterwards, some fighters may be engaged with 110s, but the action migrates to the lost contact area as the circle disbands or escapes. And yeah, that's it. Okay. So let's we need to figure out how, and then this just summarizes all that stuff. Let's figure out how we want to do this. So 3 of our guys are fatigued. I don't know if Probably makes sense for those to attack from a flank, so they're not having to deal with 2 dogfight cards. So I think we'll send Fitzroy there. He's fatigued. This one's fatigued and green. We'll send him after that one on the flank. Who else is fatigued? Yellow 3 is fatigued. Send him after this one on the flank. There's one more that we have to send on a flank. Let's do our other green pilot, I guess, Timmons. Send him after this one on the flank. And let's do it like this, kind of every other one. All right, and then we've got Upchurch and Ellsworth. Do we want them? See, if we do it that way, they're what? They're head on. How do you get head on and tailed? Head on tailed. An example of that, I think. Oh, I see. So it doesn't matter that these guys are actually facing away. They're still considered to be tailing him. Yeah, so in this case, we would draw a head-on card and apply all the results, and draw a tailing card and ignore all the results except for hits. And then the other option is we send them this way, in which case we're tailing and tailed. And we would apply all the results from the tailing card, and then the tailed card we would apply all the results except for tight turn and slip. I guess we'll do kind of a mix of both to see how they play out. So let's have him go like that here. We'll have red leader go this way. Green leader is a veteran. We'll have him go like that. And we'll have green 3 go like that. I don't know. We'll just kind of mix them up here, I think. Different ways. Because to be honest, I'm not sure which would be better. That looks good. All right. Now we got 12 dogfights to resolve. All right, so let's get to it here. I think we'll do the flank attacks first, since we want to have as many fighters on the display as possible to hopefully trigger some what's it called? Not isolation, disruption results. So let's start over here with red 3. So we're drawing a light bomber card for this, not a dogfight card. And green pilot takes a hit. Ooh, he is a green pilot. And then it is disrupted. So we place a fallen marker here. And we put I think we put a Schwarn marker right off to the side in the lost contact area. Place a new Luftwaffe fighter swarm marker in the lost contact area. The RAF fighter that scored the disruption may immediately engage it, tailing, or let it go. We'll engage it, I guess. So we'll have this be our lost contact area over here for the time being. And we need a 110 swarm. But we also got a hit, so pull that out. It's a wing 6. I'm getting a lot of lighting artifacts here. I think it might be from this board over here. I don't know. That's even worse. Okay, and then I think that concludes his first round. Let me see. Because normally you would then do the tailing last, but I think that would be put off until the next round of combat. So I think we would check that hit marker now. Because it says end of round. After all RAF fighters have attacked, those still in engaged boxes are now lost contact. Each tails a rota. Place the fighter in the Luftwaffe fighter marker in lost contact area and play that dogfight. Remove the circle display and play dogfights for each engaged RAF. You can see it doesn't really say when you resolve your hit checks, but I assume it's after each engagement. Because like for the other ones where you're resolving 2 at a time, it says to reveal them and apply the results simultaneously for both cards. So yeah, I'm just going to do it that you do each one's hit check as you go. Seems to make sense. So he's going to need a 6 or higher. Nope. So he goes to the wing fate box. And this one is let go then. We'll keep it handy though. I'm sure we'll need more. All right, then let's resolve yellow 3. And he's fatigued, so if he does have to do a hit check, he's going to get a -1 to that roll. Also for a collision check. All right, so we are on the top row here. Disrupt on a 10. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, it should be 11, right? Because we've only lost 1. So that is going to disrupt him. And he goes low ammo. And we take return fire. I assume you resolve that the same as return fire from a bomber. It's a hit, and it's a fuselage 7. And then again, this swarm goes over here, and he can choose to tail it. Oh, he's not no ammo, he's low ammo. And then we'll do his hit check. And his is trivial. then we're going to do Blue 3, who's green and fatigued. 12. Nope. We've only got 10 on there now. So remember, you don't count markers for this, just fighters. So nothing happens there. What happens in that case? If he doesn't knock him out. Where is it? Oops, escort suppression. Here we go. If other RAF fighters were engaged to the fallen 110s, they attack the fallen marker. Oh, if other RAF fighters were engaged to the fallen 110s, they attack the fallen marker. Huh. So does that mean when this one fell out, since both of these are engaged with it, they should have gone after that? One of them tailing and one of them head on. I think that's what that means. If other RAF fighters were engaged to the fallen 110s, they attack the fallen marker. Oh, they attack the fallen marker. Oh, no, I see what it means. Okay, so they still draw. Like, I guess, how would you treat that then, though? Is that still considered head on? I guess so. So they'd still be like head on tailing in this case. So, yeah. Then would these guys still be tailing in this? Do you look at what's under it to know which card to use when you attack the fallen marker? That would be my guess. A lot of questions here. All right, well, we'll get back to that in a minute. But I was still trying to figure out what happens to this guy who attacks on the flank. The RF fighter disengages immediately after the attack before drawing a card to resolve another combat. Once disengaged, it has lost contact. Okay, so I guess if it doesn't knock him out, then he just goes lost contact but not engaged with anyone. That's my understanding of that. Feel free to comment if you know otherwise. Okay, then we're going to do green 3. 9. I think we got just enough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Perfect. I don't think, does that, what do you get if you get a damage result? Does that count as a kill on the fighter? Doesn't really say. Only apply the results at the intersection of starboard or port column and the top row. Yeah, I mean, I think it's still considered a damage result. Let's see if it addresses it in the description of the icons. Card icons. Dorsal gunner. The bomber suffers fuselage damage. Yeah, see, it doesn't say anything about what happens if you draw that. Oh, here it is. Again, they're hiding rules in the example. Dorsal gunner on the circle display. If on the circle display, treat dorsal gunner result as a damage result. Nice. Okay. So he gets a damage result, which I think means this swarm, because they're also disrupted. I guess whether they were disrupted or not, it gets reduced. So there's only 3 fighters in it now. But then he did, and that was green 3. The green 3 is Fitzroy. So Fitzroy gets an escort kill. That's his first kill of any type. He's flown 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 patrols. That's his first kill. Yeah, and then this gets replaced with a fallen marker. And he is now tailing this if we want him to, or we could let it go. But we'll go ahead and tail it. We're trying to rack up some escort kills here. Okay, so that's it for that card. So that's all the bomber cards that we needed to draw. So we can put these away now. And now we got to deal with the rest of these. So I guess we'll start here. And so this is a head-on tailed situation. So let's look at our, whoops. RAF fighter is attacking head-on. Oh, you draw head-on and tailing. That's interesting. So you treat this one as if you're tailing it, I guess. Is that what that said? Did I misread that earlier? Yeah. Yeah, so if your fighter is head-on, you get a head-on card and apply all the results, and you get a tailing card and ignore all results except hits. So I guess you're considered, because he's going the other way, I guess, you're considered to be tailing him and head-on with him. All right. So now head-on and tailing are the same card. So do we just draw one card and apply the results from both sides, or do we draw 2 different cards and apply head-on from one and yeah, it says draw 2 cards and apply results from both cards simultaneously. And it says the head-on card, apply all results, and then the tailing card, ignore all results. But they're both head-on and tailing cards. So do we apply all the head-on results from both cards and all ignore hit results from both on the tailing? I don't think so. I'm wondering if at one point in time, head-on and trailing cards were separate. So I would think you could just draw one card and just apply the results from both sides of it. Seems to make more sense to me. I mean, I guess we can go through the motions of saying, okay, this one is the head-on card, this one is the tailing card. We'll do it that way just because it says to draw 2, but it seems to me like you could just draw one and apply the results from both columns. So this will be our head-on card. So head-on, single fighter. Oh, these are 110s. And then this one is the tailing. But then the one that's tailing is a fallen marker, so we ignore, what did it say? This isn't on the circle display, so I gotta look it up again. They attack the fallen marker, apply only low ammo results, and return fire results. So the only thing that applies from the tailing card. But see, that's interesting because this says for the tailing card to ignore all results except hits. But then in the rules for ones that have been disrupted, they attack the fallen marker, apply only low ammo results, and those derived from return fire results, if any. So does that override this? Because we had, which way was it now? This was our head-on card, and this was our tailing card. So the one says to ignore all results except hits, which would mean we ignore everything on it. But then the other one says ignore all results except low ammo, so we would go low ammo. So I'm not sure which way to do that. I guess we'll take the low ammo. I think there's going to be, I'm going to be posting some, unless there's already some posts on there that address this. I think I'll be posting some, I was doing this one, right? Some questions about this whole procedure. For the head-on result, they vanish, which I don't know. I mean, does that mean they're no longer there for this guy? We take a hit and then reinforcements arrive on our tail. I think I'm going to have to go look up and see if some of these things have been answered already, because I'm not really sure how to handle this. Does that mean, because once we finish all of this, these guys are all going to go over here, right? And all be, are they all tailing? Yeah, each tail's a rota. But does that mean this guy, in addition to tailing a rota, is going to have a rota on his tail once he goes over to the lost contact area? Yeah, let me go see if I can find out some more details on this whole circle display procedure, and I will be back in a bit. Okay, yeah, there were several posts on BGG about how to handle vanish results and reinforcement results on the circle display. And just like how they had special rules in the icon results section for a dorsal gunner result. There are also, let's see if I can put this somewhere without messing everything up. There are also special rules for reinforcement results, split results, vanish results, German turn results, lost contact results, back here as well. So for the reinforcements result, it says, if on the circle display, move the RAF fighter to lost contact and put a 110 rota, Luftwaffe fighter marker, so that it engages it, play the dogfight. So it sounds like you do that dogfight like immediately, still as part of round one. That's my assumption anyway. Yeah, so in that case, we would be, for this result. Oh, and I also did see another user, it was Eddie Del Rio, I think his name is, mentioned that, why are we drawing two cards for this when both results are on the same card? Why not draw one card and use both sides? Which I think I'm going to start doing, because this gets a little confusing here with two cards. So yeah, from this one, so the vanish result, oh, we didn't look at the vanish result yet. Where? Oh, here it is. Circle display vanish. If on the circle display, the RAF fighter disengages and it may tail a new lone 110 Luftwaffe fighter marker, play the dogfight. So again, it sounds like you do that immediately. If reinforcements is also a result, the fighter does not tail the 110. So basically, if you have vanish and reinforcements like we did, you kind of ignore the vanish result and you just do what the reinforcements say to do. So yeah, and the fact that all head-ons have a vanish result on them means that for every head-on encounter you have, you're always either going to end up tailing a lone 110 or being tailed or head-on with a rota if there are reinforcements on there. Okay. Yeah, and then for this other thing, I didn't see anything about this on the post, but then I was looking through the rules again, and I think I understand now how it would work, at least in our situation. So the rules say for the attacking the fallen markers, to that section here. Actually, before we get to that, it says here, engaging the 110 circle, it says a fighter may engage a swarm head on, tailing it, or by the flank. So in this case, we're actually engaging this swarm. We're not engaging this swarm. It just happens to be there behind us. And the reason we draw the tailing card, I saw from some comments from Jerry and a couple other people, is that these 110s have rear guns. So, I think it would be this one. No, that one's head on to us. Anyway, it was to represent the fact that we were being shot by the rear gunner as if we were tailing this one. The rear gunner from this swarm is shooting at us. That's why you ignore anything except for hits from the tailing card. But we're not actually engaged with this marker. So in this case, at least, where it says if you're engaged with the fallen 110, you attack the fallen marker and only apply low ammo results and return fire results. Well, that doesn't apply here because we're not engaged with this one. So this still applies here. Ignore all results except hits. So our tailing card, which was this one, has no, in fact, this one has the same thing on it. Let's just do this. So this is our head-on result. This is our tailing result. Sorry, this is our head-on result. Right, we don't get hit. We're on 110s. So it's a vanish and reinforcements, and then a damage and a low ammo from the tailing. So here we ignore everything except damage results, so nothing there. Here, because there's reinforcements, the vanish doesn't apply, and we just end up disengaging, and so we don't go low ammo. We just end up disengaging, and we are tailed by a rota. And then we play that dogfight. I just realized I got the wrong swarm over here for these other guys. These should be 110s. We're tailed by a rota, and then it says play that dogfight. So I assume that means right now, do this dogfight. Which means, I think I need to get clarification here too as to whether would we do the hit check first, because that round basically is over, and then this is played out as a different round, or what? So, but in this case, we don't have a damage to resolve, so we will go ahead and assume that we do it right now. All right, I'm going to shuffle this other head-on tailing card we drew back into the deck, since we're only going to use one now for this. Okay, so we're being tailed by a rota. I think we will attempt to turn into them. All right, and we're a lone fighter against 110s. So green pilot takes a hit, and they're reduced. Well, he's not a green pilot. They get reduced. And then we do it again. I guess. It says play that dogfight, so I assume that means we do this one to completion, and then continue on back to the circle display. But again, I could be wrong. I did ask clarification. I actually kind of hijacked someone else's thread to answer a question they had about the circle display, and I kind of inserted my own question then about the case we had earlier where we came in from the flank, got a disruption result, so it came over here. We're now tailing them, but we had a hit marker on us. Do we resolve that hit marker now and then play out this dogfight in the next round, or do we do it or at least like I think we're supposed to do these, where we basically finish that first round, because tailing is always done last. Do we finish that first round and then do the hit check? So hopefully I'll get an answer on that. But I need to ask about these situations too, with the vanish and the reinforcement results, where it says play the dogfight. Does that mean right now or after you finish the circle display? We're assuming it's right now. So we're going to play this dogfight to completion. So we're again tailed, this time by a lone fighter. we're going to try to turn again. And ouch. Yeah, we should have done an evade the first time because then they would have been gone. So we take 2 hits. Youch, youch. So first up we have a fuselage 7. And then we have a wing 5. All right, so now we do the hit checks for that. We'll do red die for the 7, blue die for the 5. Oh. So this one was trivial, but this one was not. So we go to the wing fate box with yellow leader. This can go away. All right, back to the circle display. So actually we have no one engaged on that fallen marker. Both of these are engaged on that fallen marker. So that rule will apply there. And then this one is engaged to that fallen marker, but this one is not. Okay. Let's go here next. So this is a tailing situation. So we draw a tailing and a tailed card. So let's do that. And no maneuvers are permitted. Tailing and tailed. All right. So here is the tailing card. We're a lone fighter against 110s, and we apply all results. So we get a kill. We go low ammo. So yellow 2 is Birtwistle. So he gets an escort kill. Wow, he's been flying. This is his 9th patrol. He's about to become a veteran, and that's his first kill. We get this vanish result. So again, that means, I believe it said we go, it disengages, goes lost contact, and may tail a new lone 110 Luftwaffe fighter marker, play the dogfight. But first, let's finish resolving this stuff. So that's everything on that on the tailing card. And then for the tailed card, we apply all results except tight turn and slip, and maneuver is not permitted. So, sorry, that was the tailing card, wasn't it? No. Tailed. Right, we did the tailing. So tailed is this one. Oh, we got reinforcements, so looks like we won't be tailing a lone fighter after all. Although this is on a different card, but I think it says apply them all simultaneously. So if he were a green pilot, he would take a hit. He's not. So we disengage. We go over to the lost contact area, and we are now head on with a rota of 110s. And it says play the dogfight, so I assume that means right now. So head on, lone fighter against 110s. They vanish, and we get a green pilot takes a hit. So they just vanish. So we'll put him up here with the other unengaged lost contact fighter. All right, why don't we switch around to this side? So now we've got, and this here we are engaged with a fallen marker. So we're going to ignore all results except for low ammo. Does that mean from both cards? If other RAF fighters are engaged to the fallen 110s, they attack the fallen marker. Apply only low ammo results and those derived from return fire results, if any. But is that only from the card that would apply to the fallen marker, i.e. the head-on card or the tailed card? Because in this case, we're head-on, so we're drawing a head-on and tailing. Which again, we're just drawing one and using both sides. But does that mean for the head-on portion we ignore? Or we apply only low ammo results? Or does that mean, but then we still apply... well, the tailing says ignore all results except hits. Yeah, so in this case, we kind of have this conflict here where the one rule says apply only low ammo results. And the other rule says for the tailing card, ignore all results except hits. So I'm thinking since these guys are still there, we're still subject to hits from that card, from the tailing card. So we'll play it that way. But that could be clearer. Okay, so for the head-on, this is the one where we ignore everything except low ammo. Or apply only low ammo. So he does go low ammo. And then for the tailing, we ignore all results except hits, and there's no hits. So that's it. And then it says at the end of the round, after all RAF fighters have attacked, those still in engaged boxes are now lost contact. Each tails a rota. Place it in, blah, 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 blah. I don't see any reason why we need to wait till the end of the round to do that. Because otherwise you got to keep track of, okay, this one's already gone, this one hasn't. So I'm thinking we just do that now. So he will be tailing a rota of 110s. But we don't fight that one until the next round. Okay. Hope I'm doing this all right for you guys correctly. So red 2, same situation, head on and tailing. So again, we'll just use the one card, both sides of it. So for the head on, we only apply low ammo results. That's a shame. And then, right? No, wait a minute. That's not head on though, that's tailing. Right. I mean, do we look at, that's the other question too, is that when we're attacking the fallen marker, are we head on with it or are we tailing it? I assume it's whatever was underneath. So we were tailing this one. So this should actually be a tailing and a tailed, right? Yeah. Yes. Okay. So for the tailing card, normally it would be apply all results, but since we're engaged with it, we apply only low ammo results. So this is for the tailing. Right? Yeah, I was looking at the wrong one anyway. It would have been this for the head-on. But yeah, this is what we thought we were doing over here. So only apply low ammo results for this one. And then for the tailed, which is coming from this guy, we apply all results except turn and slip. Tight turn and slip. So it's a reduce. So are there special rules for reduce in the circle of life? There are not. But I guess it doesn't matter. I mean, it could, I guess, right? If we still had someone flanking this one and they hadn't resolved theirs yet, and then this guy gets a reduce. So would this flip over to a 3 fighter swarm? And then if he manages to disrupt them, it would come over here as a 3 fighter swarm. I don't know. More questions that don't seem to be answered. But I think in our case, it's not going to matter. So we'll go ahead and disengage this guy, even though it's technically supposed to happen at the end of the round. And he will be tailing a rota. All right, then we have green leader. So he's head on with this one. So this is going to be a head on and tailing card. And both things will apply. Neither one's a fallen marker. So for the head on, we've got a vanish result and a collision. No, sorry, looking at the wrong one again. A hit and a vanish result. Ooh, and then we got this German turn. That's the first time I've seen that one. And another hit. Do we do? No. Head on and tailing. For the tailing card, we ignore all results except hits. Okay. So, wow, we just got smacked with 2 hits. And a vanish result, which means we'll be tailing a lone, right? Is it the one where you're tailing a lone fighter? I think so. Vanish. Yeah, it may tail a lone fighter. But then here we have that conundrum again. It says play the dogfight immediately. So would we resolve these hit checks first and then do it? I would think so. Elevator 7. But again, you do the tailing step last, so if it's still considered the same iteration through the dogfight cycle, this could be just another tailing. All right, so we got a 7 and a 9. And then he's going to come over here and be tailing a lone fighter. So, yeah, let's go ahead and do the hit check first, I guess. So red die will be the 7, blue die will be the 9. And we failed the 7, so he goes to the elevator. Fate box. Yeah, see, theoretically I could have had a shot at that one before having to do those hit checks. Not really sure. All right, let's come back down here to blue 2. So he's attacking a fallen marker, and he's tailing it. He's tailing what was there. So we're going to draw a tailing and a tailed card. But then for the tailing card, which applies to the fallen marker, we only apply low ammo results. So tailing against a 110, there is a low ammo. We ignore everything else. And then for the tailed card, they just vanish. So that means they come over here. They are tailing a lone 110. And it says play the dogfight. So let's play the dogfight. Tailing. Lone fighter tailing a 110. Ooh, an S. Low ammo, so this goes away. Haven't seen an S result on a dogfight card yet either. We do get a kill, so it looks like the S is going to be irrelevant. Let's see what it was, just in case. It was a split. Split the tailed Luftwaffe fighter marker into 2 smaller units. Lone German fighter. If tailing a lone fighter, ignore this result. The German fighter remains tailed and does not slip behind your fighters. But in actuality, he doesn't because we shot him down. So blue 2 is G. Grant. No. R. Rathbone. So Rathbone gets an escort kill. I just realized I haven't been marking these on the back. I believe that's a second escort kill for him. He's got 2 escort kills and 4 bomber kills now. So 2 more escort kills or 1 more bomber kill and he'll be an ace. I'm pretty sure that was 3 that we've gotten so far. I'll review and make sure later. We're on chapter 4, patrol 2. All right, so he's gone, and then he just goes to the unengaged portion of the lost contact area. And next we have blue leader tailing. So he's going to do the tailing and tailed, but the tailed one is a fallen marker, so how would that work? How are they going to be able to, if they're not there anymore? I mean, I guess theoretically this is all happening simultaneously because we're not engaged with this marker, so we don't only apply it says we apply all results. All right, well, let's see what we got. So we get a tailing and a tailed. So for the tailing, lone fighter against 110s. Apply all results. So we go low ammo and we get a kill. And again, should that get replaced then with only 3 in it? If another fighter then attacked it from the flank and knocked it out, would it only be 3 when it came over here? Not sure. I don't think there's any special rules for the damage result on the yeah, no special rules for the damage result on the circle display. I'm not really sure about that. So that was blue leader, which is Irwin. So that's our 4th, I believe, escort kill for the patrol, which is going to be a victory point. And who did I say? Irwin. That's his first escort kill. He also has 2 bomber kills. All right, so that was the tailing result. And then for the tailed, see, this says we take 2 hits, but are we considered to be engaged with that? I don't think we're engaged with it though, because I think we're engaged with this one. This one just happens to be behind us. So I'm assuming this is simulating that all of this was happening at once, and before he got knocked out, he managed to get a couple of shots on us. But again, I think I need to get some further clarification on this. But we'll play it that way. So 2 hits. A wing 5. And a wing 9. Working 9 to 5. All right, let's do red die for the 5, blue die for the 9. Oh, well, either way, we wouldn't have made it. So he goes to the wing box. All right, and then the last one. We have green 2 head on. So we'll do a head on and tailing. And we do all the results for the head on. So we've got a vanish, a low ammo, and a damage result. So low ammo for him. And green 2 is piloted by Pertwee. Pertwee gets an escort kill to go along with his 2 bomber kills. And that is our 5th escort kill of the patrol, I believe, subject to verification. All right, so those were the head-on results. And then for the tailing results, we ignore all except hits. Well, that's all there is. So we do take a hit. And it's an engine 5. Roll for that. Trivial. So then he comes off and is tailing a rota. All right, so after the end of the round, as they say in the rule book, end of the circle display round. After all RAF fighters have attacked, those still in engaged boxes are now lost contact. Each tails a rota of 110s, which we just went ahead and did ahead of time. Remove the circle display and play dogfights for each engaged RAF fighter. All right, so this can go away. And now we have all of these dogfights to resolve. Move these guys up over here. And again, we can just choose to let these guys go if we want, but I feel like we might be able to get some more. Of course, we've got to be careful. These 110s got rear guns on them, so they might be shooting back at us. So do we want to just let them go? We already have 4 in the fate boxes. We scored 1 victory point from escort kills. Is it worth trying to get 3 more kills just to get 1 more victory point, but put these guys' lives in danger? We're already short-handed with only 16 pilots on our roster. I don't know. I mean, if it was a decision to stay in a bomber round for another cycle, to go after, 1 or 2 more victory points, I think I would probably say no. Yeah, I think we're going to be getting 4 points from the second squadron. When they go after the bombers, they just automatically score 1 victory point per section, and there's still 4 full sections in there. So 5 victory points versus 6, possibly 7, if we got super lucky. I mean, we'd have to down 1, 2, 3. No, we'd have to down 7 more. So that probably ain't happening. So for 1 more victory point, is it worth risking these guys' lives? I don't think so. I don't think so. So we're just going to let all these guys go. I know some of you are probably going, "Aw." I think that's the smart move. So all these guys are lost contact now. So that concludes the intercept or the escort resolution in the intercept phase of the interception sequence. So then we resolve the bombers order next. But my question is, before we do that, do we still do an escort? Yeah, I think we still try to suppress the escorts, right? Because they still have to intercept the bombers. They don't just automatically get the points. They have to make a successful interception attempt, right? Let's look at our big wing rules again. Squadron 2 interception map. Squadron 2 intercepts bombers. If Squadron 2 intercepts the bombers, place its formation marker. Yeah, I mean, they're still going to need to do an interception check. That's the whole reason we went after these guys, to make it easier for them. So let's go check for escort suppression. And actually, we were on the circle. And we get a +1 modifier because a German fighter was destroyed. I'm not sure what this any size means here. Because here it's saying any type, and then different lines for heavy or light. Or I guess any size means it doesn't matter if it was heavy or light. Yeah. If it was on the circle display, then you use this row. Okay. So it's actually easier than we thought it was going to be. We just need a 2 to suppress them, a 4 to reduce them, and since they're light, that would eliminate them altogether, which would be fantastic. Well, I don't think it's really going to matter. Because I don't think, I don't know, it said only one squadron was able to, yeah, we don't even set up the bomber. I was just thinking, are these, we send these guys after the bombers, and they do their thing. Can these guys that are lost contact then try to chase and enter the bomber formation? But I'm pretty sure when you do the circle, or not the circle, the Squadron 2, have them intercept the bombers, you don't even set up a bomber formation area. Yeah, I don't think that's an option. Okay, let's do this escort suppression check. And we have, let's see, are we able to pluck? Yes, pluck can be used for suppression checks. So none of our guys used any, I don't think there's really anything they could have used. I guess they could have canceled low ammo, but that's about it. Didn't really see a need to do that. Because you're not allowed to do maneuvers. Well, I guess the one guy could have when he was being tailed from a reinforcement. He was using maneuvers, so I guess I could have. I didn't even check for that. I might have been able to do if they were a veteran, I might have been able to do a privilege there. To do a pull tight when I was trying to do those turns. Oh well, too late now. So 2 or higher. So basically we're guaranteed to be able to, well, actually we're guaranteed to be able to reduce them because we got 4 guys with their pluck skill. So we got it anyway. So they are reduced and suppressed, but they're not even there now, so we don't need to put a suppression marker on them. So mission accomplished there. These guys can come off now. And yeah, so then we do our interception check for Squadron 2. I wonder what happens if they fail the interception check. The whole squadron would go lost contact and you'd have to do dogfights against them, but there's nobody to do dogfights against. I don't know. All right, so we are coming in from flank low. They would have to spend a fuel, but they don't. Does that mean we can quote unquote spend a fuel to re-roll their interception check? All right, well, hopefully we get this because we have 110s in the trailing, so they're a 2. We have 109s in the lead, which is a 5. So we need a 5 or higher to intercept. Yes. I am curious about that, though. If they can, quote-unquote, spend a fuel to re-roll. Because every other time it says when they have to spend a fuel, you just ignore it. It never spent, so it says do not track Squadron 2's fuel. It never spends fuel, nor does it need to. Talks about stragglers. Interception map. Yeah, both may adjust. Squadron 2 adjusts without paying fuel. Squadron 2 intercepts bombers. If Squadron 2 intercepts the bombers, yeah, we do all that stuff. But it doesn't say when they're attempting to intercept the bombers, can they spend a fuel? I mean, they're allowed to adjust without actually spending a fuel. So I would think you could re-roll without having to spend a fuel for them. I don't know. Maybe someone already asked that. I have to look to see. Not sure how many people have had the opportunity to use this big wing option. So, all right, so we successfully intercepted. So it says to just put their marker there to show that they've intercepted the bomber formation. And then it says, I guess I should have left that open to that. Do not initiate the bomber cycle. That happens off screen and is not depicted here. If interception happens while the raid marker is on the inbound row of the raid track, it's not. If on the turn space of the track or the outbound row, you earn 1 VP for each section. So that. Once it intercepts bombers, Squadron 2 performs no more actions as an and is out of play. Still doesn't explain what to do if they fail to intercept the bombers. Messerschmitts. Oh, here it talks about Squadron 2 dogfights. Maybe this would cover that situation. When that squadron is in a situation where an advantage card would be drawn, do not actually play the dogfight. Instead of drawing cards, assume that one section is removed. So I guess since if they fail to intercept the escort or the bombers, don't you you have to draw a Luftwaffe advantage card for each section, right? So basically each one would automatically reduce it by one section, and then there'd be no sections left and it would get removed. That's probably what would happen, I guess, in that case. All right, but so we score 4 victory points for bombers killed. No one gets credited with them, obviously. Yeah, and then their marker just comes off. They're now out of play. And we continue. So first up is Entropy, bomber formation area. Nope. No reaction. Chase. All these guys are going to return to base. I guess I should have left the fatigue and green markers on there, dummy. Let's see, who was green? Tremble, is he still in here? Red 3. Nope. Who else was green? Grant, blue 3. Yeah. Then we have somebody else that was green. Oh, Merrington, but he's in the hospital. And then our fatigued guys were Tremble. No, not Tremble. Osgood was fatigued. He's in yellow 3. Nope. Grant is fatigued. And Fitzroy is fatigued. Fitzroy is in green 3. Okay, there we go. I mean, I didn't need to put them back on there because they're all going to the RTB box, so they're not going to have to roll for anything. So this was Grant. This yellow 3 is Osgood, and green 3 is Fitzroy. Okay, there we go. Now we can stack all these on the RTB box, like so. And then we go to patrol complete. Yes. All right. Let's see what happened to our guys. Alrighty, let's do this one first. Green leader in the elevator box. Red die initial results, blue die secondary result. 10, he lands it. Nice job. I'm just gonna go ahead and get all these out of the way. We don't need these fuel markers on here anymore. Then let's go to our wing box. We'll start with our green pilot, red 3. Red die first result, blue die second result. 10, lands it. Nice. That was, red 3 was Tremble. Yellow leader. 4, on fire. 10, bails out. Yellow leader is white. Nice going there, Jerry. And blue leader. 7 is a crash, and 6 lands him in the, or no, sorry, yeah, up here. 6 lands him in the hospital. So blue leader is Irwin. He is in the hospital. Need to get some of these guys out of there soon. All right. Well, not as bad as I was thinking it might have been, but I think it was still a good idea to not push it any further. All right, so let's see where we're at for Chapter 4, Patrol number 2. Again, I'm going to verify these escort kill counts, but I know we got at least 4, so I feel confident marking down a victory point for that. I mean, I just marked all these. Yeah, they would have been bomber kills. I guess if you catch them before, you get 2 victory points for each section. So I don't know if you want to mark that as like each one killed 1 bomber and each one isolated a Keta or however. But anyway, let's do this. So we got 4 points from the bombers and 1 point from escort kills. So that's a total of 5 victory points. We had 1 bailout, 1 hospitalized, no one killed. All right, so that puts us at 16 points now for the chapter. And if we look at our chart for the outcome, Again, this is an 8 patrol chapter, and look at that. We've managed again within the first 2 patrols, which I think we did last time, right? Or was it? Yeah. Exactly the same except flip-flopped. We've managed to avoid disaster. So this will be a victory for the campaign. But we'll go ahead and play it out. See if we can manage to get this one up into the success or excellent row there. But if nothing else, we know we're on our way to victory. So that's a good feeling. All right. That is that. And that will slide this board back up. Get our obligatory box shot again for the outro. That's going to do it for this episode of Skies Above Britain. Got to see some unique things here. Big wing and 110 circle display. I just realized our flak marker over here never came into play. So yeah, if you enjoyed it, please give me a like, leave a comment. Let me know, those of you that have experience with this circle display, some of these things that are a little bit unclear, what your thoughts are on how those should be resolved. Like I said, I'll probably put some posts on BGG asking some questions about that, but be curious to hear your thoughts. And yeah, share the video with your friends. Subscribe if you want to, and hit the little bell icon there to get notified when new videos go up, if you'd like to do that. And with that, I thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.